Oh my goodness, there are a lot of you in here today. We have over 1,200 of you registered today. Hello, everybody. Hi, Cass. Oh my gosh, so many friends, new faces, faces that have been here many times. Hi, Erin. Hello, hello. Welcome to this really exciting and very jam-packed masterclass. We are going to get to work today because we have a lot of work to do. We have a lot of fun things to talk about. And I want to make sure we have some time at the end to answer any questions you have. Okay, before I get started though, a couple of housekeeping items. First, can you guys see my screen okay? Everything look good? Can you hear me? Give me some thumbs up. Everything looks good. Can you see the slides? It says plan, prep, profit. Beautiful. Okay. I have multiple screens going on here, so I just want to make sure that I'm not showing you something you shouldn't see or anything like that. But a few housekeeping items. First and foremost, we are recording this. I will upload it. I will send it to you. Sometimes it takes a little while because YouTube gets a little grumpy. I use fake email addresses and all of this, but it thinks they're real and I have to, anyway. So it takes a little while for these replays to upload, but I will get this to you as soon as I can. Also, I am joined here by my amazing coworker, Erin. She is part of our member experience team. She is in the chat. She will be in the Q&A today. So I do have another team member here helping me with all of you and all of your questions. Now, that being said, if you have a question, okay, there's a lot of you here, guys. So we're not going to be able to answer everything here in the chat. If you have a question, please locate the Q&A button on Zoom and drop your question in there, okay? When you add it there, Erin and I can see it. If Erin can answer it quickly, she absolutely will. If it's something that we need to talk about in the Q&A section, I will refer to that Q&A section for any questions, okay? So again, if you have a question, please drop it in the Q&A section so we don't lose it, okay? All right, we have a lot to cover, so I'm gonna dive right in, okay? Now, first and foremost, hi! If we haven't met before, I'm Dawn. I'm the product education manager here at Flodesk. I've been here for almost 2 years now, but I have been a Flodesk user since day one because I have ran multiple small businesses myself. So not only do I get to share this information with you from the eyes of Flodesk, but also I get to share it with you from what has worked really well for me and what I'm learning as I do this for my own business. Still running one of those businesses right now. And I am so thankful for Flodesk and the amazing profit that email marketing has brought me. So I'm here to share that with you, but know that I'm also in your shoes as well. Now, I want to start with a really crazy stat that I found this week. Okay. Last year, I'm gonna let you guess. On Black Friday last year, how much money do you think was spent just on Black Friday in online sales? Any guesses? 9.1 billion, 1.9 billion, $1 billion. B with a B, a billion, billion with a B. Any other guesses? Any other guesses? Just on Black Friday. Just on Black Friday. No. $10.8 billion in online sales. Just on Black Friday. It doesn't include Cyber Monday. It doesn't include the weekend. It doesn't include the week after and Small Business Saturday and whatever deals. That is just Black Friday. Online sales. Total for like the whole sales season, it was something like $230 billion. It is insane. Isn't that crazy? And as small business owners, we can take part of it. In fact, we saw there was a survey done that small business owners make about 30% of their annual revenue on Black Friday. Isn't that crazy? So, all that to be said, we want to make sure that you're prepared. And a company called Cinch that do like market research and all that fun stuff. They ran a survey earlier this year, and they asked consumers, where are they looking for their deals? And guess what? Emails was the number one place. This was ran this year, okay? Sometimes it feels like emails can be the dinosaur of all the things. There's so many trendy things like Instagram and TikTok and YouTube and all of these different platforms out there, but at the end of the day, email is still the strongest of the marketing channels, okay? It's not that tiny little Instagram video that everybody's posting. That's not what's going to make you the money. It's the emails. When people are looking for Black Friday deals and promotions, they are starting with their inbox, okay? Now, yes, it is September. It is almost the end of September, which is crazy to me. But if you want to have a successful Black Friday with your email marketing, we have to start now. Okay. You cannot wait until November to start this. There's different things that take time, and it takes time to build trust and learn about sender reputation and warming up your list and all of this stuff. And that has to start now. If you wait until the month of November, and if you wait till the week of Black Friday, you are not going to have the success that you will see if you start now. So today we're going to cover a few different things. We're going to talk about how to get your list ready, okay? There's a few things that we really want to do to make sure our list is healthy, to make sure we're good to go there. We're going to talk about segmentation, which is actually the true magic of email marketing, and we're going to show you how you can do that starting now if you're not already doing it. We're going to talk about a holiday strategy. We're going to talk about the differences between sending workflow emails versus single send emails and all of that good stuff. And we're also going to give a couple of tips on how to optimize your emails for great conversion. Okay. Now, also, I'm going to be bouncing in between these slides and going into Flodesk. So we're going to do both a presentation and a demo here. Okay. So we'll get there when it's time. But first, let's dive into getting your list ready. This one is most important, and this one also takes the most time. That's why we're starting here. And this is why I was like, okay, it's August. Let's start talking about Black Friday. In fact, last time we were talking about Black Friday and people were like, why are we talking about Black Friday? Like, is this an older presentation? We're like, no, like we have to start talking about it now to be successful later. Okay. Now, in the email marketing world, the key to success is a great sender reputation. Okay. Think of your sender reputation like a credit score. Okay. How you behave over the course of time impacts that score. If you're doing not so great things, especially over and over again, that score is going to start dropping. If you are doing good things and you're building trust and you're sending valuable content and your subscribers are engaging, that's going to increase your sender reputation. Now, this sender reputation is, again, like an arbitrary number. It's not like Google does give you access to it, but think of it like a credit score, right? It's like constantly changing and evolving. But this is what determines if you end up in the spam folder or the inbox, okay? And on that same caveat, okay, we are business owners here, okay? You are a promotion. So if you end up in the promotions folder, that's where you're supposed to be, okay? It's not a bad thing. But as you improve your sender reputation and as you take on some of these best practices, we see people all the time, including myself, move into the inbox versus the promotions folder, okay? So every platform out there, so when I say platforms, I'm talking about Google, I'm talking about Yahoo, I'm talking about iCloud, I'm talking about Outlook. They have their own calculations for sender reputation. However, we tend to lean in towards the Google sender reputation because they, one, make it available to us, and two, about 75% of inboxes in the US use Google. So if we use Google kind of as our guideline, that's going to be a pretty great way to see how we're doing across the board. If you are not familiar with Google Postmaster tools, we highly recommend signing up for that. It's just postmaster.google.com. You can register your domain there, and then it will tell you what your emails look like in the eyes of Google. Okay, it'll tell you what your sender reputation is. It'll tell you what your spam rate is and all of that good stuff. Google does not actually display that information to other platforms. So that's where you're going to need to go if you want to follow up with that. It's just Postmaster. Thank you, Erin. Erin's the best. Yay. Perfect. Now, all of that to say, the first thing that we need to validate and we need to talk about, and also you can't use Google Postmaster unless you do this. Okay. You have to be sending from a custom domain email that is authenticated. Okay, we are business owners here. In 2024, the email platforms cracked down on this. They said, hey, if you are sending marketing emails, you need to have a custom domain and you need to be authenticated. Okay. Now, so what that means, it means you should not be sending your business emails from an at gmail.com address. It means you should not be sending your business emails from an at Yahoo or an at iCloud. Okay. Those are free email addresses. Now, I want you to take a step back and think about it from the eyes of these inbox providers. Okay. They are in the business of protecting their users. Okay. Every single one of us here has gotten one of those emails that's like pretending to be PayPal, or this transaction was made, or this package is undeliverable, or pay your toll fees, or whatever. There's so many different things. Emails are pretending to be other people. There's phishing, there's spoofing, there's all of these things, and it's really scary. Sometimes, I mean, have you ever gotten one of those emails where you have to stop and take a look and be like, okay, is this legit or not? Happens all the time, and that's becoming more and more rampant. So, that what they have to do is they have to add some requirements to protect their users. Well, in 2024, they said, okay, well, the first line of defense here is we need to make sure that real businesses are sending from a real business address and that they are authenticated with us. And like when you look at many of those like awful emails, they're coming from free email addresses. Okay. So that's your first line of defense. If you're somebody that's ending up in the spam folder, that's the first thing we're going to check. Now, Flodesk makes this super easy for you to do. If you come in here, so you get your custom domain email from whoever you get your domain from. So if you get it from GoDaddy or Squarespace or wherever that may be, you're going to start there. I personally use Google Workspace for my custom domain emails. It's great, it's simple, and it lets me use Gmail, the Gmail app, for all of my email addresses. It's wonderful. So in Flodesk here, to see this part right here, which is the custom domain and authenticating it, I'm going to click on my settings here in the top right. I'm actually going to make this a little bigger, guys. Top right, go to domain setup. Well, sorry, we're going to go to email setup first. This is where you're going to want to put your custom domain email. Okay, get that verified. Go to domain setup, and this is where you're going to authenticate your domain. Okay. You can see here, I don't have my domain authenticated because I don't actually own the Flodesk domain, but you'll own your own domain. And what you want to do is make sure that this is all green. Okay. If you click on this authenticate now button, you can automatically authenticate and it will log you into or you will have to log into your provider, or you can do it manually on your platform. So up to you. If you need help, check out our help center. And if you are still having issues, go ahead and write in to our support team at support@flodesk.com. Now, if you are somebody who has done this in the past, okay, like you've done it, you got the green, you're good to go, make sure you come in and just validate that it's still green, okay? Before we get rammed up for Black Friday, we want to make sure everything looks good. That is correct. So, Kristen, Google Domains was brought out by Squarespace a while back. That is correct. But they still let you do. You can still have a Google Workspace email, like email, custom domain email through Squarespace. That's exactly what I do. So, yep. And if you are on a Squarespace, which used to be Google Domains, there is an extra step. So please read the support article or watch the tutorial video on that. Okay, we're going to move on, guys, because we have a lot of stuff to cover. Now, when it comes to our email list, okay, quality is light years more important than quantity, okay? I ran 2 small businesses, both of them using Flodesk. I made multi-six figures in one of my businesses with less than 400 subscribers, okay? You don't need a subscriber list of 10,000 to be successful. It's a vanity metric at this point. In fact, unless all of those people are engaging with me, I don't want them on my list at this point. These inbox providers, Google, Yahoo, iCloud, they're really cracking down on engaged subscribers. If you are somebody that is sending to your subscribers and your subscribers never engage in those emails, the platforms are learning that. They're seeing that your content isn't being opened and probably people aren't interested in it. So they're not going to put you in front of people, right? And that in turn can actually impact the people that do want to see your email, okay? Those unengaged subscribers could be preventing your email from showing up in the inbox folder versus the promotions or the spam folder, right? So you want to focus on sending to high quality subscribers, okay? Now, how can we clean this up? Okay, how can we clean this up? So in Flodesk, we have new filters. They're fancy. I'll show you them here in a second. But what you want to do is you want to choose a length of time. So if you send emails a lot, you might want to clean out people that haven't engaged in your emails in about 90 days. Or maybe if it's been a little longer, 6 months, up to a year. But we want to go ahead and filter out those subscribers. Now I'm going to jump over here to Flodesk. I'm going to look at the chat real quick. Carly, does open rate count as engagement, or do you like to focus on deeper than click rates? I definitely count open rate as engagement, but it's not the only factor, right? It's a combination of the two is typically what I look at. Somebody with a 100% open rate but a 0% click rate might not, I wouldn't qualify as engaged as somebody that might have a 90% and a 50% click rate. Like, it's really up to you and what you are looking to do, like conversion wise. Okay. So I'm going to come in here real quick. I'm going to go to my audience. And again, guys, this is a demo account. Okay. So none of these email addresses are real. And also they're not actually doing things in the inbox. So I don't have live data for these. But what I'm going to do in my audience tab right here, I'm going to click on filter. Now, I don't necessarily want to look at anybody but subscribers who are considered active. If they are unconfirmed or unsubscribed or marked as spam, they are not considered active. So I'm just going to click on active here, click add filter, and then I'm going to come down here to last activity. So I only want to see people that have engaged with my emails in the last, let's say 6 months. So last activity is not in the last 6 months. Click apply, and then they would appear here, which they don't because it's demo content. But if I go like last 7 days, I think it'll work. Yeah, there you go. So once you have this list of your subscribers, you'll be able to take a look, validate that everything looks right here, okay? Then at this point, you get to decide what to do with them. I can come over here and click on this checkbox. It's going to ask me if I want to select all of them or if I only want to select those on the page. I'm going to click all of them. And then I can choose to delete, unsubscribe, or add them to a segment. Okay? Now, let's talk about the differences really quick. If I delete them, it removes them entirely from Flodesk, including their history. This is the cleanest way to do it, but you lose all the historical data for that person. Okay. If you have any integrations running, like any e-commerce integrations or Interact or Honeybook, things like that, people can be added back to Flodesk through an integration if they were not unsubscribed. Okay. You can't resubscribe somebody. So if you have those integrations running, I prefer the delete method or the add them to a segment method. If you unsubscribe them, they remain on your email list, but they are unsubscribed. You will not be able to email them. However, they can come back onto your list if they fill out a Flodesk form. Also, if you choose this method instead, you retain historical data for all of these subscribers. The other option is to add them to a segment. So if you want to keep them on your list, but maybe try to re-engage them down the line, that's totally up to you. You can simply click add them to a segment, and then I can say cold subscribers, and then create that segment, and then add them to that segment right there. Now, when I put them into that cold subscriber segment, when I send those emails later, I can simply exclude that segment so I'm not sending to people who haven't engaged lately. Okay? All right, moving on here. Let me check real quick. Awesome. So still confused. So delete is able to subscribe. So in any situation in delete or unsubscribe, they can both resubscribe through a Flodesk form. However, to be added back to the list through an integration, I would delete them. If you unsubscribe them, they cannot be resubscribed through an integration. It does not affect your deliverability. No. It does not affect your deliverability. It will affect your deliverability if you continue to send to people who don't want your emails, though. That's the biggest thing right now. If you unsubscribe them, do they get an email telling them they're unsubscribed? They do not. Nope. All for you. All right. Moving on, guys. If you have any other questions, please drop them into the Q&A section. The next thing we're going to talk about here is warming your domain. Okay. And again, this is the one that is why we're talking about this in September. This one takes a little while. Okay. Now, how this works. Okay. I'm going to come back to this folder here or this graphic here in a second. But what we do for warming your domain is we look at all of your subscribers and we organize them by your most engaged first. So whether, like we mentioned earlier, are these the people that click the most? Are these the people that open every email? Is this the people that have received the most emails? However you want to do it is totally up to you. But what we're going to do is we're going to create small segments of these subscribers, starting with your most engaged first. Okay. So you see here, I have 6 warming segments. The first one is 50. Those are my 50 biggest fans. Those are the 50 people that open and click every single email. Okay. Warming segment number 2 are my next group of subscribers. And this time I included 150 of them. Warming segment number 3, 400. So you see how I'm growing my list, but I'm going from my most engaged first to my least engaged. Okay. Then what I'm going to do once I've divided these subscribers into these smaller batches that slowly increase in size, I'm going to send the same email to each of them over the course of a few weeks. Okay? No. And warming segment 3 does not include 1 and 2. So the people in number 1 are not in any other segment. Okay? So you take your 50, they stay there. You take the next 150, they stay there. So that would be your first 200 subscribers. You take your next 400, that's the total of 600. Does that make sense? So they are only in one warming segment. One warming segment. So then what we do is we create an email. Now, this is actually the email that I used recently to warm my list because I have neglected it for a little while. And it did fine. It was okay, but I think I could have made it more engaging. So what I did was, I'll even show it to you guys. I'll come in here. So this is the email I made for warming. You want them to have something to engage about. So I'm like talking to them and I'm asking a question like, what do you want to learn about? Okay. And they can click on these different things and get more resources to them. And then I can segment them based off of what they clicked. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. But this wasn't the most engaging email. What I have seen worked really well is like, hey, we have a new freebie and I want you to be the first to get it. Or, hey, early access to this is all yours because you're on the list. Something that gets them excited. You want them to open these emails. Okay. So what we do here is we first schedule this email for that first batch, right? And again, these are your first 50 top fans. They're your biggest fans. They are the people that are going to open these emails. So since you sent them to the 50 biggest fans that you have, you are going to see a fairly decent open rate. You're going to see a fairly decent click rate, again, because these are your biggest fans. Now, what that does to the inbox providers is you send this email and they see this engagement rate on this email. They're like, wow, everybody really wanted this email. It must be important. Okay, let's see. And then a couple days later, you send it to the next batch. Okay. Same thing happens. Again, these are your next most engaged subscribers. They're going to interact with it. They're going to click on it and it's signaling to those providers, hey, wow, people really wanted this content and must be very valuable content. I'm going to make sure that people can see their content. And then you move to the next batch. See how we're slowly ramping up here? Well, as you do that, you are growing that trust. You are building that sender reputation. So as you keep working your way up, these platforms trust you. These platforms help you get in front of your members. This way is how you are going to handle this in a lot of these situations. Now, for context, I did this to a subscriber list of about 700,000 this time last year. Okay. It took me 8 weeks to do this. It took a long time. Okay. And as you get to those bigger lists towards the end, you're getting towards the end of your engagement, right? Like these are the people that are not as engaged. The reason why I don't want you to schedule these and just forget about it is because I want you to review the analytics after you send these emails and make sure everything looks okay. If you see a huge drop off or if you see something that's not right, you want to be able to pause the future ones. Because if for some reason you were flagged, you don't want to keep sending it because it's going to hurt your sender reputation down the line. So I'm going to go back here a couple of slides. So when should you warm your domain? Okay. You want to warm up your domain if you have recently created it, or you have recently created a custom email, or you have recently authenticated it. This also applies if you are somebody that has just moved from one platform to another. Okay, you want to warm up your domain. This is also something that you should be doing if you plan to increase your sending volume. Okay, I'm going to be super honest with you guys right here. If you are somebody that has neglected your email list for the last year and you send your whole list an email on Black Friday, guess what? You probably just earned yourself a one-way ticket to the spam folder. You have to build that trust. You have to warn them and tell them who you are and build that trust and that consistency over time to be successful, especially during Black Friday. If you are somebody who is landing in spam currently, if somebody says like, hey, I didn't see your email, I found it in the spam folder, it's also a good idea to warm up your domain, okay? Domain warming will never hurt you, okay? It just kind of hurts your time because it takes a little while. So keep that in mind. Definitely do this before you start ramping up your sales and any launches you have. Kristen, does it matter how large or small those warming segments are? You want to start small and then grow. So it depends on obviously how many segments you have, right? Or how many subscribers you have is how many segments you'll have. I like just to kind of like eyeball it. Here you go. This one, Susan. I like to eyeball it. It's totally up to you. Like we again started at 50 and worked our way up. But you want to start small and go big. Don't start with your first one, a big one. Okay. How do you sort those segments? What are you looking for? Or how do I tell if they are engaged? Great question, Becky. I have a whole tutorial on how to warm your domain on YouTube. Erin, can you find that link? And I show you how to do it. If you go into the analytics tab, and again, guys, this is demo content, so you're not going to see any analytics here. If you go to your subscribers tab and scroll down to performance by subscriber, it will organize all of your subscribers based off of open rate, click rate, and all of that good stuff. You can download that CSV here, or you can start moving people around right here. Okay. You can also go into your audience and then filters. And we have new filters now where you can filter out people based off of their number, or their open rate, or their click rate, or however you want to organize that. So you can build those complex filters here as well. Beautiful. For the warming segments, do you keep things evergreen or do you start new ones every year, each campaign? So once you're warm, here, let me go back to my slides now. Now, once you are warm, you are good as long as you be consistent afterwards. Okay. You don't have to warm every time, but if you stop for a little while, you want to warm back up when you come back in. You want to make sure that you're sending emails that can be sent that make sense over the course of a few weeks, right? I don't want to send like a, hey, today, blah, 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 when I'm sending that same email to somebody else 2 weeks later, right? So I keep those evergreen so it makes sense at any point in time. But obviously you can change it up if it's a different time of year. If you want to try rewarming before another launch, that's totally up to you. Okay. Beautiful. All right, we're going to move on, guys, just for the sake of time here because we got a lot to cover. Okay. Once you're warm, please send consistently. If you need some ideas for your emails, screenshot this, come back to it. There's a ton of amazing ideas for your emails. Okay. Screenshot it, come back to it, and get busy, guys. Get emailing. All right, let's talk about segmentation. Now, the magic of email marketing truly lies with segmentation. Okay. And segments are simply small groups of these subscribers. We talked about them in the warming sense, but you can have an incredible amount of segments. I have 140 of them in my own account, and it can be everything from what they've purchased to what they've downloaded to what they do for a living to their favorite color to their Enneagram type to are they a mom? Like whatever it is that's important to you to collect, that can be a segment, okay? And these are small groups of subscribers. Now, the magic of email marketing, it comes in because you can send the right message to the right person. You guys can't do this on other platforms, okay? I can't go to Instagram and say, only show this post to moms, or only show this post to high school seniors, or only show this post to people who are local to me, or only show this post to Enneagram 3s. Like, you can't do that on social platforms, but on email, you can. That allows us to get that right message to the right person. They're more likely to engage with it. That makes them excited. That makes them feel seen. That builds the relationship with you. And that's what allows you to win. Okay? There are so many different ways to do this. Now, one thing before we jump into the different ways to do this and get started with this, if you already have not, okay? We pulled all of the email data from, I believe it was 2023. We did this in 2024. And guys, we send billions with a B of emails out of the Flodesk platform every year, okay? And we looked at all of these emails and we looked at two groups. We looked at the emails that sent to all subscribers. Okay, they just took an email and they blasted it to their whole list. And then we looked at the emails that sent it to a specific segment or a specific group of segments. Okay, the emails that were sent to specific segments had 3 times better engagement metrics, both click rate and open rate, than the one that was sent to everybody. Getting the right message to the right person is very important in email marketing, and this is the magic. So in Flodesk, you can do this a number of different ways. One of them is on your forms, okay? I'm going to show you. So I don't know if you guys knew this, but on your forms here in Flodesk, I'm going to grab a form. Here's a form right here. If you click on the background of the form, this little pop-up window on the side pops up, and there is a section for preferences, okay? I can toggle this on, and it will add a question to my form. I can make this say whatever I want it to say. It can say, what are you interested in hearing about? It can say, what do you do for a living? It could say, how many kids do we have? What's your Enneagram number? I don't know. It could be whatever you want it to be, okay? Now, the cool thing about this is when you click on these options here, if they check that box, you can add them to a segment, okay? So if I'm saying, what interests you most? I'm going to say, like, email tips. Oops, wrong place. Email tips. And then if they are interested in that, I can put them in a segment called Interested Email Tips. Ta-da. Okay. I can say I'm interested. We're talking about the Enneagram in the chat. I'm a strong 3 gram Enneagram. We'll say Enneagram. So interested Enneagram. You guys catch it? So they can click multiple options here, and whatever ones they select, they'll be added to that segment. So guess what? If you have this really cool blog post about the Enneagram, or you have this, I have an offer for my friends who are interested in email tips, I now have an audience that I know is interested in that content. That's where the magic of email marketing happens, okay? So I'm going to even show you a real life one. This is my website. Tech Savvy Creative is my business. So I have a free opt-in called AI Toolkit for Creatives, and I ask them, what do you do? This to me is the biggest segment because as somebody that teaches tech and speaks at a lot of conferences, I want to make sure that I'm sending things that are relevant to my audience. So if I am going to a photography conference, for example, I don't want to email people who are not photographers about me going to this conference because a web designer is probably not going to care. I don't want to disengage them or turn them off because I'm talking about something that they would never spend the money on, right? But I do have an audience of photographers and I can email it to just them. So that's just one way to segment your audience here in Flodesk. We're going to jump back here. The next one is my personal favorite, which are link actions. So if somebody clicks on something in an email, you can automate it. You can add them to a segment, remove them from a segment, add them to a workflow, remove them from a workflow, or set a custom field. So we'll do that same thing here. I'm going to come into this warming email. Again, I can say I want to learn about. If they click this button here, I can go to the link. It has a URL. I can say add them to a segment. And I'm going to say interested in email tips. Oops. Just like that. So now if somebody clicks on that, it automatically segments them into that audience. I can do the same here in plain text. So if I have a URL right there, click on the link, I can add these link actions using that lightning bolt. Very, very cool. Okay, moving on, guys, because we have a lot to cover. I'm sorry. I don't want to make you guys late. Okay. Also, in emails, we have poll blocks, okay? So this could have been a poll, but I want them to be able to click more than one, so I didn't run it as a poll. But what you can do is if you click on the plus sign, go to poll, and we have all of these beautiful poll blocks built into Flodesk. So you can have images on there, you can have like little guides, whatever you want it to be. And same thing here for these options, you can add a segment or a custom field based off of what they click. Okay? All right, guys. I see a lot of chat going on, but if you have a question, please drop it into the Q&A section so I can come back to it when we're done here, okay? You can also segment your audience in integrations, okay? So every integration is a little different because they all offer different things. But I will tell you right now, my quiz with Interact is by far the highest converting integrate or opt-in by far. It's like 45% of my subscribers come from this quiz. And the cool thing about the quiz and Interact, and we have a direct integration with them, is I can not only segment them based off of the answers they get, but I can segment them based off of the questions they answered. Okay? I'll even show it to you. I'll show it to you live. I'll show you my quiz. And you guys are welcome to jump in here if you want to go take my quiz, just so you can experience like how I set it all up. But it's just techsavvycreative.com/quiz. I teach on tech tools. I used to work at Apple. So I'm going to tell you what Mac you should buy. So I'm asking you, like, do you want a laptop or desktop? Are you a photographer? Guess what? That puts you into a photography audience. And then I ask you these questions. Do you work in the wedding industry? Like, are you a speaker? Each of these things, not relevant to the answer, but it is relevant to my segmentation. So that question's in there. But that's how that works. And when they come through the whole quiz and they submit it, they get sent over to Flodesk with those segments. Super, super cool. You can also manually segment, okay? Don't forget about this. For example, I had a very unsegmented audience for a while. And you know what? I needed to find a group of photographers because I was going to a photography conference. Well, if you go into your emails and you search for the word photographer, if the word photographer is in their domain or their email address, they're probably a photographer. So I just went ahead and grabbed those 300 people and I moved them into a photography segment. Okay. So, it's totally up to you. Like, don't discredit this. Like, you can do it manually. And just a little bit of an Easter egg. This might get even easier and smart here very soon. Yay. Okay. Guys, go ahead and start leaning into the segmentation strategy right now. And so you can have your targeted audiences to send later. The quiz link, tech savvy quiz link. Thank you. Thanks, Erin. You guys are the best. Chantella, you show it. I'm a show it user for both of my businesses. It is phenomenal. Okay. Happy to answer any questions at the end. Okay. Map out your holiday strategy. Okay. The quiz platform is Interact. And we have a direct integration with Interact. It is wonderful. And again, my highest converting opt-in. Let's talk about our strategy. Okay. Now, that same survey that we talked about earlier. Okay. They asked, how early do you expect to hear about Black Friday? Okay. And this actually really surprised me because I kind of had this assumption that consumers were a little annoyed about Black Friday. But the survey results said that they want to hear about Black Friday offers 1 month before Black Friday. 1 month. Okay. That was a little surprising to me. But here's why. So we're in a world where we all kind of expect Black Friday to happen. And I don't know about you. I know for me, like there's certain items in my home that I do want to buy or replace. And I'm waiting for Black Friday to see if they have a sale. Anybody else? Anybody else have one of those? For me, it's a rug. I have a toddler rug out there that I want to replace. But we all have those things. And we're also learning that the Gen Z generation actually really likes to spend time researching certain products. And so they want to know what they can expect so they can plan for it on Black Friday. Okay. So if this audience, the people who are consuming your content don't hear from you and they've already made their game plan on how they're going to spend their money on Black Friday, and then you show up, well, their budget's kind of exhausted at that point. Okay. So you want to plan to start sending emails at least a month before. Okay. Now, we're getting into a fun topic here. Okay. There are 2 ways to send emails in Flodesk. Okay. Erin and I constantly see this getting mixed up. It gets really confusing, and I want to just make this really clear, okay? You have the ability to send individual emails that are scheduled, or you can send them right away, okay? That is this page right here. This is the email tab. When we do one of these, this is a single email. We are scheduling it. We are sending it. You can also send emails via a workflow. Now, a workflow happens after somebody does something else, okay? So let's talk about the differences here. Scheduled send emails are great for anything that needs to be sent once or that needs to be sent at a specific date or time, okay? Really important. This is great for newsletters, specific dates, reminders, promotions, sales. This is also great for email reminders. The reminder you got for this session was a single send email. We scheduled it. It was not in a workflow. Okay? This gets mixed up a lot. All right? If you have something that needs to go out at a certain time, please send it as a single send email. Workflows are great when you want to automate steps after somebody does something. This is great if they opt in for a freebie. You have to deliver the freebie. You're not going to wait for a certain time, right? You want to deliver it right away. This is great for abandoned cart workflows, which we're going to talk about here soon. If following up after they make a purchase, challenges, welcome sequences, nurture sequences, re-engagement campaigns, registration confirmations, because those things can happen at any point in time. That's when a workflow is ideal. So the TLDR here, if it has a specific date, like a sale, schedule it. If you have to do something after somebody does something, workflow, okay? I'm going to show you kind of what this looks like from a high level. So let's say I have a form on my website, early access to our Black Friday sale. Like get early access, sign up for it. Cool. So they sign up for my list. They want early access. That form puts them into the Black Friday segment, okay? So that happens automatically. Well, because they filled out that form, let's say it was 3 o'clock in the morning, they filled out that form because they were doom scrolling in bed. They get added to that segment. Well, that segment triggers a workflow. So the workflow begins when somebody is added to that segment. I want to automatically send them an email that's like, you're on the list. Stay tuned for more details. Okay? I don't want them to wait until I get a hold of my email or the next scheduled email for them to get that confirmation. I want that confirmation to be immediate. Okay. So that's when I'm going to use a workflow. Same with like a freebie offer. If they said download your freebie now, I want to immediately send them access to that opt-in. Okay. That is when you use a workflow. However, when the time comes where I'm planning my sales strategy, I want to have like maybe an announcement like it's coming soon. And then I want to say it's live. And then I want to say, the clock is ticking, only a few days left. Those emails will be single send emails. And the reason why I don't want to put them into a workflow is because it's possible that somebody joins my list the day before it ends. Okay. I don't want them to get stuck in the workflow, and I don't want them to get all of the previous emails. Okay. I only want them to get the emails that they need to get at that point in time. So the rest of those emails, I simply schedule. Okay. So early access starts soon. First dibs is live. Don't miss out on the best deal of the year. Whatever those emails are, I'm going to send them at a specific time and date. And so I'm going to say, I want to send this to that segment. I want to send this to the people who are interested in my Black Friday sale. Now, it's not going to look at who was in that segment when I scheduled it. It will look at who is in that segment at the time it actually sends. Okay, so you're basically setting this up, and anybody that joins that segment up to that point will receive that email. This makes sure that people who signed up late don't get the old emails that are not relevant to them. And this ensures that those people who came in don't get emails that they missed, right? You don't need all those past emails. So please use single send emails. Okay. Almost there. One more section, guys, after this. So let's talk about abandoned cart workflows and purchase follow-up workflows. These are new in Flodesk. Super exciting. So if you are using Flodesk Checkout, or if you're using Shopify, if you're using ThriveCart, if you are using Wix, or if you're using Squarespace, or I think that's all of them, we now have e-commerce workflows. So you can come over here on the left. You can see abandoned cart and purchase follow-up workflows. There's a couple of templates here. I'm just going to grab a template. There we go. Now, if I click add trigger, you can see automatically it says begin this workflow when somebody abandons a cart. Okay. So abandoned cart workflows increase conversions by up to 20%. So let's say they're on my Flodesk checkout and they get to the checkout, they start typing in their info and they're like, maybe they forgot about it. They left it the tab open, whatever that might be. This is a follow-up email at whatever point in time I set it up for that says like, hey, you left this in your cart. Okay, we've all gotten those emails, right? You can now do that here in Flodesk. I can connect my store. So we have ThriveCart as of this morning. Yay! Wix, Shopify, Flodesk checkout. Squarespace is available for purchase follow-up workflows. However, they are not available for abandoned cart because that is a limitation that they have. Yay, ThriveCart. If only you knew, Nick. It has been we are so thankful because we know so many of you have been asking. So we are so thankful to get it to you guys. So here in this workflow, right here, I can choose my store and then I can say after an hour, if they don't purchase the item, it'll send them an abandoned cart email. Now, if they do buy the item, it will not proceed. Okay, so do not worry about that. Now, this first email is a transactional email, so they do not have to be a subscriber to get it, but any email following that will have to be one. So you can see here it breaks it out versus subscribers versus unconfirmed subscribers. If they are on your list, you can continue to send them marketing emails because you have consent. If they are not on your list, they will simply stop here. Okay, we can spend more time on that later. I just want to make sure we have enough time to get through all of the things. All right, guys, if you are somebody who needs a better way to sell, if you want to sell online, try out Flodesk Checkout. It's amazing. It is beautiful. You don't have to have a website. It generates a website for you. There are a ton of templates. There's a ton of blocks. You can take advantage of mobile payment options like Apple Pay, Google Pay, and also buy now, pay later right there in checkout. You can use things like countdown timers. And if you are somebody like me who has a website and you already have a sales page designed, you can still use checkout by creating a checkout only. You just turn your CTA buttons on your website to point to checkout and it will give you that processor. Yes, love that. Yeah, we also love checkout. Big fan, big fan. Okay, getting through this, guys, because we only have 13 minutes left and I know there's a lot of questions waiting for me. Okay, optimizing your designs. This is a very important piece to email marketing in general, okay? Yes, be eye-catching, but be clear, okay? We are in a world where we are competing with big brands that have multi-million-dollar budgets and all those things. You can be eye-catching thanks to Flodesk. The Canva integration makes it even easier to do, but make sure whatever you do, it's clear, okay? And with that being said, you need to keep accessibility in mind. This is so important, okay? Now, what this means, this is not just like alt text, and we'll talk about alt text here in a second, but this includes things by making sure you are using a font size that is legible. Shannon's in here, right? I think Shannon's in here. Hi, friend. Shannon today was talking about like your font needs to be at least 18 point. Hi. She had a thread today that was talking about like, I can't read your email if it's at 9-point font. Like, guys, make sure you're making it easy to read. Okay. Now that also includes contrast. Please don't use gray text on a light blue background. It is impossible to read. Be careful with fancy script fonts. Be careful. Okay. Now I want to show you this. Okay. Now, one thing that people don't know about right away in Flodesk is that the way that we do, like the reason why you can use custom fonts in Flodesk is because we render layout blocks into images when we send. It's part of our patented technology. And so this right here, because it's a custom font, will be turned into an image when I send it. Well, because it's an image, I won't be able, like a screen reader or any accessibility tools will not be able to read it. Okay. So what you want to do is if you're using any image block, any layout block, anything that uses that custom text or anything you brought over from Canva, you want to make sure you click on that layout block, go to block and then accessibility. And then you add that alt text there. So this block right here is plain text, right? So I just wanted to include what this block said right here. If it's an image, you want to describe the image. So again, if somebody who can't see this very clearly or is using a screen reader or any other accessibility tools, or if the image just doesn't load for some reason, this is the text that would display also. Okay? Oh, thank you, Erin. We were just talking about that today when I was reviewing a design. Amazing. Okay, so big piece here. Contrast, size, color, all of the above. Please keep this in mind. This is so, so important. Okay, not last, one more. Send test emails to yourself. No excuse. Click the paper airplane icon, send the email to yourself, open it on your phone and your computer, and make sure all of the links do what you want them to do, okay? Don't let your subscribers be your testers. You are your tester. Send the email to yourself, test it, make sure it looks good, and then send it to your subscribers. Last but not least, friends, keep an eye on your metrics. Okay. This is something we even do at Flodesk. We use our own tool for all of our own email marketing. Okay. If you guys even knew how many segments we have in there, it's crazy. Keep an eye on your metrics. Keep an eye on your metrics, because if you see a sudden drop or if you see something that looks weird, something probably happened. You want to stop, you want to do research. If you continue to send blindly after you're doing damage, you can continue to damage your sender reputation. So keep an eye on your metrics and be ready to pause. Okay, this is really important. We even do this here at Flodesk. We break things up in based off of their engagement, and as we get to those people that are less engaged, we keep an eye on them. And if it drops below a certain amount, guess what? We stop sending. Also, things like Yahoo, for example, last week changed their inbox size from 1 terabyte to 20 gigabytes. So if you are somebody experiencing a lot of bounces or undelivereds, check to see if they're Yahoo emails, because Yahoo made a big change and everybody's email inbox is suddenly full and can't receive new emails. Okay. So we even internally had to filter out all Yahoo emails and exclude those from the send to make sure that we didn't have high bounces. So keep an eye on these things. You have to ebb and flow with what is going on. And that is it, guys. We saw drinking from a fire hose. It was a lot of info today. Again, I will upload this replay and I will email it to you. So keep an eye on your inbox. But now with that, I'm going to open questions. I made it, Shannon. I hope you were talking to me. Amazing. Okay, I'm gonna get my little box here. Awesome. Okay. Melanie asked, how would you sort your subscribers into different warming segments? Melanie, excellent question. I highly recommend checking out the YouTube channel because I do break down a way to do it. You can do it by using the filters. I personally think it's just faster to download the CSV file and make 5 or 6 CSV files and then re-upload them into Flodesk. When you re-upload, here, I'll show you. When you re-upload I'm going to go in here to segments, new segment. I'll say warming number 1. Make it red because it's hot. I open this, add subscriber, upload CSV. I would simply upload that. When you upload a CSV, if they're already in Flodesk, it won't duplicate them. It'll simply just add them to this segment. So I find that to be the fastest way. How do you know if you need to warm up your list? I have about 28,000 active subscribers. I email them twice a week, 40% open rates and about 1% click rate. That's great. Even you guys, industry average for open rates is 20 to 30%. Okay. So if you're sitting in the 40, 50, 60%, you're doing a great job. Now, Anna, I would definitely see who's not engaging and maybe start excluding some of those colder subscribers. You will naturally see an increase in your metrics because you're only sending it to people who traditionally open and respond to your emails. But by doing that and sending to just your engaged subscribers for a little while might boost your sender reputation a little bit more. And the emails that maybe were ending up in spam for your colder subscribers might start showing up in inboxes that they can see. Mena, what filter did Dawn use for a list of 50, 150, 400? For that one, that's the one I built in that YouTube video. Go ahead and watch that. But I simply downloaded my CSV from my analytics and then I sorted them and just grabbed them. It's pretty boring and straightforward. What What was that link you sent them to when they clicked what they were interested in? Okay, so great question. So you have to link somewhere. It's really weird for your subscribers to click something and then not get anything. Okay, so you have to send them somewhere. I just have a simple thank you. Let me get out of here. I just create like a simple thank you page on my website. Um, Here we go. You can also link them to a GIF, which is what I do in the Flodesk emails. So you got it. I've noted your preferences. Thanks for letting me know. That's all it says. If I have content for that category, I would send them to information about that. But that's really all it was. But I also send them to Giphy links all the time as well. Okay. 5 minutes, 5 minutes. How does warming up work for ManyChat contents being integrated from socials? Is it best to just directly link to a Flodesk form from DMs? So that's a warmer lead. Okay, so Susanna, I don't know if you knew this, but we have a ManyChat integration as of a couple weeks ago. So yeah, you can send them a link to your form, or you can use the integration. So it'll say like, hey, you're here for that freebie, right? And then they would be like, yeah. And then you'd be like, cool. What's your email? And when they send that email, it'll integrate it over to Flodesk automatically. I would not, however, just automatically download your ManyChat subscribers and upload them into Flodesk because they haven't explicitly said or given their email in that process. But yes, the form has worked great for me. I've used ManyChat for many years, and now you can do it via like the chat part of ManyChat as well. I hope that answers your question. Um, but which is better? Hannah, I don't think it matters. On our side, they get there the same way. So they either fill out the form. So like if you want them to be like on the analytics of like they filled out the form, then yes, you would want to send them the form link, but it is an extra step. If you want the conversation to be a little bit more organic, but they still get into that segment, you would just do it through the DMs. Now, I would say that if you do it through the DM conversation, to make sure that that segment also adds them to a ManyChat segment, so you can like use that information later. Be like, oh, this many subscribers came from ManyChat and they are more engaged than or not engaged, right? Like for me, for example, I know that certain opt-ins, I get better engagement with them after the fact. So I don't email certain people as much as I email others. So you just have to start to understand your audience a little bit better there. Christina, how did I come up with my segments? Mine are all over the place and not useful. Been there, done that many, many times. So I'm going to come over here and show you. Oh, I guess this is not my real account. But for me, I like to have like a naming convention. This is super helpful for me. I like to use like all caps, like interested, Enneagram, and I can be like trade, photographer, quiz result, MacBook Pro, like I like to organize it that way. That's just a little easier for me. But that's up to you. Now, I will say this is really important. Segments aren't something that you're just going to sit down and just like make all of them and then never come back to. You're going to evolve your segments over time. Okay. They're going to evolve. You're going to come up with new ideas. It's going to be different opt-ins and freebies and so on. But I would start with what they've opted into, what they're interested in, and maybe what they do. Okay. It depends on what you do as well. When do you put up your Black Friday waitlist form? I would put it up as soon as you can, honestly, Lisa. The sooner it's there, the better. I think I saw somebody asking about like, can I make this expire? My all-time favorite form ever is a checkout or a countdown timer form. Let me show you why. Favorite part. So if I go to a countdown timer form, and this is what we use for the webinars as well. I'm going to say register webinar. Okay. So I built this form. So this is how like you register for the webinar or whatever. So it adds them to the segment register for webinar, right? Now the cool thing about the countdown timer though is if I click on the timer and I go to the timer settings, right here it says when the timer ends, I can say add them to a wait list. And what this actually does is it will add them to a different segment if the timer expires, okay? So if you did that, Okay. So if I had this countdown timer for your Black Friday and they miss the Black Friday sale, you could still be like, oh, you just missed it, but sign up to be on the wait list for the next one. Okay. All-time favorite feature right here. So even for this, there's going to be people in my segment for this workshop that didn't make it, but I will still send them an email after the fact saying like, here's the replay. But the email I send them is a little different. It's not like, I had so much fun with you guys at the workshop. It's like, oh gosh, I'm so sorry you missed this, but here's a link and here's a link to get early access to the next ones, right? So that's how I do that. My favorite feature. Okay, it is 1 o'clock. Oh my gosh, guys, there's so many good questions. I'm so sorry we couldn't get through them all. But I just want to say thank you to everyone. Huge shout out to Erin for answering 44 questions in the Q&A section. You guys are amazing. Again, I will be adding this to YouTube here shortly. I will be sending this out to everybody in the emails. If you have more questions, do not hesitate to drop it into the YouTube comments. I am the one that watches it, so I'm happy to answer any of those questions there. Also, if you need some extra support, our MX team is here to help you, and you can find them at support@flodesk.com or at help.flodesk.com. Amazing, amazing. Guys, we have more coming. I think I have 3 on the calendar right now. You will be the first to know about them. We have one all coming about checkout. We have one giving a full tour of Flodesk. And if you are a new Flodesk user, please keep an eye out for Flodesk First Steps coming up here soon. Thank you so much, everybody. I hope you have the most successful Black Friday ever. And I hope this was helpful for you today. Thank you so much, guys.